The new Antelope Launcher is the key to controlling and updating your Antelope audio interface. Let's take a closer look. Across the top, we have 3 tabs: Devices, Plugins, and System. Then on the far right, we have the account login and settings, as well as the minimize and close the launcher functions. Let's start with Devices, as this is probably going to be the section of the launcher you're going to be using the most frequently. Devices shows the interfaces and other Antelope audio hardware that is either attached to your computer, also known as local devices, and those which you can control across your local area network. The device ID is by default the unit's serial number, but you can rename this to something more useful if you wish. You can launch the control panel for the device by clicking on the interface graphic or by clicking the Start Control Panel button. It looks a bit like faders. Each device has its own dedicated control panel to control its features. Hovering over the device info button tells you the serial number of the unit, the current hardware and firmware versions, the current control panel version, and the USB driver version where appropriate. If you click on the info button, you have access to the Getting Started guide, the user manual, and other handy videos which will help you make the most of your interface. Clicking on the 2 cogs allows you to go to the Manage Devices page. On the left side, we find Software and Firmware. Here, we again see the current supporting software and hardware available, and we can update the unit to the latest bundle version. The bundle contains drivers, software, and firmware updates for your hardware. Keeping the bundle version up to date is the best way to keep your interface healthy and running properly with whichever OS you may be using, be that Windows or Mac OS. If you see a new bundle, click here to install and update to the latest bundle version. In the bottom left, we can choose to automatically launch the device control panel as soon as the launcher starts. This can be very handy if you only use one interface on your system. The other side of this tab is Features and Ownership. In this section, we can add and remove features including the Antelope Audio effects and hardware licenses to your interface. This includes the Antelope Audio AFX plugin and Antelope Audio mic emulations, where available for your hardware. We can also deactivate the device if we do not want it assigned to our user account anymore. The Plugins tab is where we install the native plugin software, including the Antelope Audio AFX to DAW hardware to software bridge and the native microphone emulation plugins. Again, it's always a good idea to stay as up to date as possible. The System tab allows you to manage core communication components of the Antelope Audio ecosystem, the Manager Server and the audio drivers. The Manager Server is the backbone of the launcher's communication to all attached Antelope Audio devices. It runs in the background and talks to all connected devices, computers, and installations of the Antelope Audio AFX to DAW plugin. If you find that a device is not connecting to the launcher, you may need to hit the Restart Manager Server button to, as the name suggests, restart the Manager Server. On the far right of the Manager Server section is the option to accept or decline remote connections. Uncheck this box if you want to prohibit remote control of your locally connected device from a networked computer. Rechecking the box will allow locally connected Antelope Audio interfaces to be controlled from another computer running the Antelope Audio Launcher across your local area network. On Windows, next down is the Thunderbolt driver. This needs to be installed if you have a Thunderbolt connected Antelope Audio interface. Once installed, it will run in the background. As and when updates become available, you can manually update the driver. At the bottom of the list is the USB driver. This is specific to each USB device you have attached to your system. You can see here I have quite a number of USB devices installed. On Mac OS, this is a single unified driver for all attached devices. Next, along the top of the launcher, we find the user login area. We can log into the launcher, log out, and be directed to the main Antelope Audio account dashboard, where we have control of our user data and our new and claimed features. Next to the account login, we have the settings menu, again with 3 tabs. Options allows us to switch the new launcher theme between light and dark. We can turn off the panel animations, we have options for moving the control panel, and we can boost the size by 200%. If we click the Advanced drop-down, we can change the update parameters for the firmware, the USB driver, the control panel, the effects, and the Thunderbolt driver. By default, these should be set to If Newer, which will ensure you always have the latest, most up-to-date firmware and drivers. Clicking on the Network tab allows us to view the network information for each connected device. The Logs tab is useful for any fault diagnosis. This can be saved or sent directly to the Antelope Audio support team for any help and troubleshooting. Finally, in the very top right of the launcher, we have the minimize and close options. We hope you now feel more informed about the operation of the new Antelope Audio Launcher. For more information on the full range of Antelope Audio hardware and software, check out antelopeaudio.com, and we'll see you next time.